friends. Welcome to the second lecture in this series of the first week. Last time we have seen the basic understanding about how the MIS and systems are. Now let's look at how information systems and organizations are related to each other. These are few of the topics which I'll be covering today. That is, we are going to look at components of an information system. We'll try to see the difference between data and information. There are different levels in a firm or the organization. We'll see some of them. There are different systems on each level, and we will try to look at the various types of functional business processes. Now, with the changes in the current business scenario, there are different approaches which are taken by the people. One of the most popular and favorite approach is socio-technical approach, which you can find detailed discussed in Management Information Systems, Loudon and Loudon. Here you can see there are 3 technical approaches and 3 behavioral approaches. So the basic understanding is when we look at the technical approach, we have computer science, we have mathematics, we have operation research, where probably we are looking at different models of optimization and how do we implement it for the business data processing. Because MIS by definition is user machine integrated system, we are also trying to look at the social part of it. So when we look at the strategic implementation of business systems, when we look at the users, their behavior, the economy is involved. So when we look at the contemporary approaches to this subject nowadays, there are more than one disciplines involved in this, and all together makes or support the information systems in the business or organizations today. So when we look at the components of an information system, we have already seen that system is nothing but input, process and output having the feedback to it. So the basic understanding is there are minimum 3 parts. We have business processes where we are running the businesses, and every business have their own processes. These processes nowadays are supported by the technology. So when we look at the technology, we are looking at 4 broad parts of it. We are trying to look at hardware, software, networking and databases. And because we are developing these systems for users and users are going to use them, so they are also involved as part of the whole system studies. Other than that, there are environmental factors like legal and other factors which are affecting the business systems and processes. One of the basic understanding is all organizations are mostly considered as the open system. We have already seen types of the systems in the last session. So when we say open system, the basic understanding is the input is taken from the environment and output is given to the environment. So basically these businesses interact with other environmental factors. Those also affect the system designs. When we try to look at data and information, I hope you must have seen a research paper which I have uploaded in our class, which speaks in more detail about data and information. But just to give the basic understanding that here, as per the resources, we are trying to look at data as collection of raw facts, figures, situation, events, etc. And when we put that data in the context, probably it gets converted into information, and making sense out of that information is part of this subject. So making sense out of the data by converting it to the information, so probably we are looking at transition from data to information to knowledge, and how do we use it for our business processes. So information processing is one of the most major area what we are looking at. And after we process the information, the reporting of that information in the appropriate forms or the formats is more important. So if you ask the classical MIS people in the past, you will find out that MIS, they call it as reporting. So all kinds of papers or the reports which gets generated, take an example of, you can have it like a bill, you can speak about invoice, you can speak about purchase order, you can speak about the daily routine reports which we produce, or ad hoc reports, or monthly reports, or functional reports. So basically reporting makes all information accessible to the people. And nowadays, because of the business intelligence scenario and dashboard introduction, so probably everybody is looking at different types of reports on different levels. So it makes a lot of sense and relevance for decision making for people, because depending on the data and what we find in the report, we try to take decisions. So when we look at the organization, the basic understanding is there are different levels in the organization. So the first level, where you can go and start transacting something, or where data is transacted. Take an example of you walking to the bank and say you do something on the counter. So that's going to be the first data generation point. Or you go to the railway station and start booking your ticket. So the data starts getting generated at that point of time. So it is called as transaction processing level, which is data generation point. In some resources you will also find out it's written as operational level. So probably the operation starts from there. The data goes to the higher level, that is the middle management, which is also known as tactical management, where people take short-term decisions, like depending on the operational data which comes in front of you, you decide, say, what kind of production you should be doing in the next shift, or how will you serve your customers next day, which are going to work or which are supposed to be working in your organization. Of course, we will see how MIS comes at this level. And the top level is a strategic level, where we are looking at CXO type of people. You can think of CTO, CIO, Chief Information Officer, and so on. So probably we are looking at the people who are taking long-term decisions, or the decisions where you actually require, you are introducing new product, and so on. So such kind of decisions usually are taken at the strategic level. So when we look at the different systems in the organization, MIS is more of a concept, because you can't go to the shop and buy MIS as a software, because there is nothing like that. So probably you can buy financial accounting software like Tally, you can go and buy like Office Suite, say Microsoft Office or any other Office. You can't go and buy MIS, because MIS is known as a concept which is collection of a system, and most of the time which is customized depending on your business processes requirements. So when we look at the transaction processing level or operational level, the systems which lies on that level are known as transaction processing systems. Next level to that comes to office automation system. So you can think about the office products, where you are storing that data somewhere in the spreadsheet or in the document. The third kind of systems is knowledge work system, which people are neither operational people nor strategic people. You can think of the systems like CAD CAM people, where people comes with innovative designs, new designs. So you have different set of systems for them. You can think of CATIA, where you are designing some manufacturing system, new manufacturing system, and trying to implement it. Then comes management information system. So basically for the middle managers, management information system works for taking short-term decisions. So the data which is generated on the operational level, these people actually uses to take decisions on that. And they would like to plan, it's like planning next shift, planning next week, planning next month, and so on. After that, the decision support systems comes. As we go along studying these different systems, we will go in little more details of this system. But in this session, I just want to give you an overview of different levels and different systems in the organization. So decision support system is the next level of systems in most of the organizations. Now, people have come out with expert systems. Which is again the next level, where people are talking about embedding artificial intelligence and other mathematical techniques to give expert opinion. Like probably we are looking at embedding human expertise in a computer software or in a system. The last level of system, which usually supports CXO kind of people, are known as executive support systems. So most of the bar chart, pie chart kind of systems you can find out there. Now when we look at the organization is made of people and processes. So we have lot of different processes in all organizations. most of the organizations have different functions in the organizations. And these processes actually cuts across the function. Like take an example, if you are raising a purchase order system, which I have mentioned here. So once somebody raises purchase order, so sales and marketing people gets that order, then the order goes to finance and accounts, then manufacturing people, produce the product depending on the requirement, if it is not available with material and logistics department and so on. So raising one order actually generates the data for that transaction in different functions. So basically such kind of processes are known as intra-organizational processes. We also have something called as inter-organizational processes because of the network world today. Like take an example, you are swiping your credit card to book the airline ticket or railway ticket. So probably one transaction is generating data in different organizations at different level. Okay, now as I mentioned before, the different levels of organization and different types of systems in the organization. Now let me give you the overall picture how actually it is in the organization. You will find that in all resources, MIS or organizational levels are defined as a pyramid. So probably we are looking at a triangle. So when we look at this triangle, there are three different levels in the organization. So we are looking at transaction processing or operational level, where we can find the transactions happening. We have middle management or tactical level, where MIS actually comes. And we have strategic management. So we are looking at the CXO people here. So when we look at this triangle, this actually gives you the whole picture of how organization is, because depending on the number of people, that's how it is designed as a triangle or a pyramid. So what has happened, as I mentioned you before, we have transaction processing system at operational level. Here you can imagine this system. Then we have office automation system, we can write it here. Knowledge work system, where CAD, CAM and other design people are sitting. Then we are looking at MIS, which helps management people to take short-term decisions. Then we are looking at DSS, which is decision support systems. We are looking at expert systems, and we are looking at executive support systems. So in organizations, we have seen different levels and how different systems are working. Now in organization, we also have different functions. So let me categorize those functions for you. I'll write them here. So we have sales and marketing as one function we can think about. Then we have, say, finance and accounts. Then we have production or manufacturing. Then we are looking at material and logistics, and we are also looking at HR. In some department, we can think about R&D. Today what has happened, that all these systems and all these functions basically are being supported by something called as IT infrastructure. Now if I really would like to put IT infrastructure here at the base, so when we say IT infrastructure, we are looking at major four components, as I mentioned you. You can think of hardware, software, networking and databases. So here we are looking at structured information. Then we are looking at semi-structured information. And we are looking at unstructured information. Now today what has happened, because of all this together and enterprise-wide system understanding, you can think all this together using by different systems. So you can think of, say, ERP, that is enterprise resource planning. You can think of knowledge management system. You can think of customer relationship management systems, and you can think of supply chain management systems. So this is going to be the overall scenario of a general generic organization. Now depending on type and structure of organization, this may little change. But now what has happened, that the hardware component, that is IT infrastructure, is supporting the business process data transaction between the transactional level to executive support system. So we are going to find different levels in all these functions and the different systems working for everybody. Now the basic understanding is previously we were having one different system for finance and accounts, one different database or system for production and manufacturing, but nowadays it's all getting integrated. So probably you have data in one data warehouse somewhere, and all these functional processes are pulling data and using data for decision making. I hope this picture will give you the overall idea about the organizational structure and how IT infrastructure is used to support different functions and how different systems are working at different levels. Thank you.